Okay, welcome to another episode of Sports Talks with Robert and David White. Um, we have a lot to cover in a little amount of time that we do. I'm just going to jump into it. We're going to talk a little bit about football first. NFL is a little quiet at the moment. We got a lot of moves that have happened over in the offseason with Nick Foles going over to the Rams for Sam Bradford for the St. Louis Rams. We have DeMarco Murray, who went from Dallas to the Philadelphia Eagles, and Matthews from the Chargers to the Philadelphia Eagles, and then they also picked up Tim Tebow, which is a interesting uh, addition that the Philadelphia Eagles picked up. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So, Mr. White, what's been most interesting is the NBA free agency.
Yes.
We had the Warriors who won the NBA Finals. LeBron did go to his fifth or sixth straight NBA Finals and lost two in a row. Still a champion, but that team got some work to do. You said in the first few episodes that Cleveland wasn't even gonna go to the finals, so I want to hear your take on what happened there, sir.
Well, I still think they shouldn't have won. You had some injuries that took place with the Atlanta Hawks. You had Kyle Korver go down, and you had Al Horford actually was suspended a game. And then in the series against Chicago Bulls, there's no way they really should have got out of that series. But you have a coach in Tim Tebow who can't coach for 1 second. If
you said Tim Tebow, this is basketball.
I'm sorry. His name is Tebow, Coach Tebow for the Bulls. Remember that?
Right.
Yeah, Coach
right.
Tebow.
Right.
I don't know what his name. I don't know what his name, first name is. I don't care.
He don't care.
Apparently, I don't care to know anything about him because he's been fired.
Yeah.
He should have been fired because he can't. If you can't coach for 1 second, if they win that game, they go up 3-1, and there's no way Cleveland could have been playing a junior varsity high school team, and they're not come back 3-1. They're not the Rockets. Anyway, the point I'm making is. They were given 2 passes to get to the finals, if you ask me.
Yeah.
The Hawks didn't even get out of bed to play, but the Bulls had the best chance of eliminating them. And a guy they had paid, I don't even want to mention his name, really. He's from Spain. Just don't say his name. A guy they paid $13.9 million couldn't even, when it came down to it, couldn't give you 2 games. He couldn't last the whole year. If he plays those 2 games, Cleveland is eliminated.
Well, I don't know.
Of course, I do know. I know for sure. He missed 2 games, and both those games were close.
But you got to understand, they both mirrored each other. It could go either way. Cleveland and Chicago.
No.
Yeah.
Let's just look at the facts. The facts is that both games that Gasol missed, they lost by 1. Yeah. They lost by 1 or 2 points.
The series,
he gives you 20 and 8
but the
a game.
series came down to the wire. They went 7 games. These two teams.
No, they didn't go 7 games. It was 4 games to 2. They didn't win another game. They didn't win another game after they lost to 1. They won.
I don't remember them going down. Wait a minute.
It didn't go 7 games. 4
games
to 2.
7 games.
I know for a fact.
Because they were evenly matched there.
You're talking to an expert. I know it was 4 games to 2. Derrick Rose was a shadow. Derrick Rose was a shadow of himself. In one particular game, him and Jimmy Butler was 8 for 36?
Mm-hmm.
Both of them made 4 shots apiece. They was 8 for 36 in one of those games, and they only lost by 2 points. So I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on Cleveland because I'm sure nobody else would.
And he was right.
They're going,
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, of course I was right. 4 games to 2.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on Cleveland. I'll get to them in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But I do want to discuss the Golden State Warriors. Hats off to them. They should be congratulated. They showed us that Cleveland is weak. They beat them 4 games to 2. It really should have been 4 games to 1 because the first game they won. The first game they won. Kyrie Irving goes down.
Right.
They lose the second game at home, a game they really should have won. It should have been going back to Cleveland 2-0.
Right.
I don't care what people are saying right now about that series. The series was not close. It's 4 games to 3 is close. 4 games to 2 is not close. Let's be honest. 4 games to 2 is not a 7-game series. They lost.
But they win 6 games.
They won 6 games. The series was not close.
It was tight. I mean, if you look at
it's
it
tight
overall, it was tight.
Now let me just say this: it wasn't tight. They got blown out a couple times.
2 games because
Cleveland
won
twice.
2 games. Warriors won 2 games, but the Warriors won those last 2 games that was more crucial than the games that the Cleveland. won.
Okay. Now that you heard from him, let's put it this way: there were 2 blowouts by the Golden State Warriors. There were 2 blowouts.
Okay.
The blowout in Cleveland.
Right.
And the 5th game was they actually went up by 11 or 12 at the end, so that counts to me as a blowout. And a series, I don't care what you're talking about. To Miami, you could be talking about Miami and Dallas a couple of years ago. If a series goes 6 games, that's not a close series. You just lost by 2 full games.
But close series, 6 games, 4 games. It's 4 games to win. If you go to 6, that means you playing your butt off. That's going close to 7 games.
No, that's not close enough.
They could have went to 7 games. If Cleveland won that game that night, they would have went into 7 games, and that's sudden death.
They were losing by. They weren't going to lose. They weren't going to win that game. They were down by as many as 30 points almost.
Right. They were done.
Golden State started celebrating, and they came back a little bit, but they were already done.
You can't win.
That series was not close.
With one person. It was. If you go back and you look at the series, the overall work of that series.
Okay. You say it was close. Let me give you some facts. There were 2 blowouts. Okay, were there 2 blowouts or not?
Yeah, they were 2 blowouts.
There were 2 blowouts for 2 victories, right? And they won 4 games to 2 by 2 games, right? That's not close. That's not close at all. A close series is 7-game series, and every game comes down to 1 or 2 or 3 points.
And it was a lot of times it was close to 1 or 2.
Yeah, it was close when the first game first started.
It was close.
anyway, enough of that. Golden State.
Scares, so we can look at
you look at whatever you want to. Look whatever you want to. I just told you what it was. It was a 15-point blowout, and another game they won. They was up by 12. They ended up winning by 11.
Right.
In the last game, they were up as many as 28 or 30 points, and they came back, but the game was pretty much all the way over. So that was not a close series in my book. But anyway,
yeah, let me get a vanilla shake. Yeah.
With cream on top?
Yeah. So I'm just ordering something, because brother got to get something.
But back to Golden State, back to the real MVP of the league, Stephen Curry. He showed everybody in the world that he, for at least 1 year, maybe for the next, hopefully for the next 5 years, that he's better than LeBron James.
I doubt
he showed us that he's a real MVP.
But
as you remember, after game 5, somebody came out and said that he was the best player in the world.
The Knicks.
But he didn't play like he was.
The Knicks, let me tell you. He's on, I don't know what he on, people, but I'm going with the New York Knicks. Phil Jackson's doing a wonderful job in the offseason so far. He freed up enough money to spend in free agency. I look the Knicks to be on top this year, at least make it to the playoffs, maybe further, just depending on who stays healthy, because that's the key. Who stays healthy through these seasons in basketball?
Playoffs.
Yes, playoffs. That's the same thing you said about.
They got to get some players first.
Yeah, they're gonna get the players. They're gonna get the players. They're gonna get the players.
They traded Anthony Hardaway Jr. already. Who did they get?
Yeah, they got draft picks, and they got what else they get from that? I forgot what else they got from that. But I'm going with Phil Jackson. Man's got 13 rings altogether. You can't go against 13 to what? Literally 0 to all the other teams except for Miami, who's got 3, which they're not going to make it to the playoffs because Eric Spoelstra ain't no coach.
He has absolutely no idea what he's talking about.
And he's a Miami fan, so just to let you know,
let's go back to the New York Knicks.
You want to go?
They got a couple of really good. They signed a follow for a couple of years, for about 3 years. That was a good pickup.
But this was your words exactly in the the New York Knicks is back.
Let me finish. The Knicks are back. I want to verify what I'm talking about. First of all, the pick was exceptional. This guy is, I heard he's 7 feet tall. but his wingspan is somewhere in the range of 7'3", 7'4". He is what appears to be a power forward. So now you have him, power forward. You have the great Carmelo Anthony, small forward. They got Follow. He's a shooting guard. I'm not sure what direction they'll be going as far as a point guard. They still have to. Bargani, I heard, is on the trading block. They're trying to get rid of his salary. Mm-hmm. And as far as the center is concerned, they still haven't still not determined who's going to be the center for that team. So they still have a lot of dealings to make them to fill out their roster. Right now, they don't even have much of a bench left now. So there's a lot they need to do still in the month of July and August before camp starts.
Right.
They still have plenty of money too. They still have plenty of money. They just hadn't been able to lure any big name stars. They were left out of the whole Aldridge thing. He had them as one of his last choices, so I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought maybe Roy Hibbert would end up over there, but apparently he's on his way to the Lakers.
The Lakers.
Yeah. So yeah, they're pretty much not looking good as of yet, but they have they made a good pick. They picked up a Follow. So there was another person they picked up. I saw. I'm not sure who that was. But the Knicks are trying to get legitimized. They still have to do something with Bargani's salary. I think perhaps he may be a candidate for amnesty when that comes up, like they did Stoudemire last year. And then there's a mid-level level exception they can get for one player, and they have a lot of veteran minimum salaries to help fill out their roster. So they are doing some things, and they're still trying to get in the mix for a few more players. DeAndre Jordan didn't look their way either. I'm not sure Phil was sold on him in the first place. He is not. He wants to be the guy, but his offensive skills, as far as making shots and a mid-range jumper and making free throws.
No, I'll keep him in that system with the Clippers because that's a good fit.
So New York wasn't really sold on him, and I don't think Aldridge was coming. I think they knew Aldridge wasn't coming. He wanted to stay in the Western Conference. He wanted to be in Texas. Anyway, the Knicks are making a good attempt to at least try to be a playoff team again. But Carmelo is going to have to play like he's the MVP for that to happen.
But he's going to have to play more team ball, in my opinion, because you can build a team around him, especially with Phil Jackson's experience and all the championships that he's experienced with that. Mark my words, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks are going to be a powerhouse in the East. LeBron is just going to be just a product of the New York Knicks.
A product? What do you mean by that?
What I mean by product is LeBron ain't going to be doing nothing. He's going to be silent. He's a superstar now, but when Phil get that team going, it's going to be Phil Jackson all over again. This is going to be a Phil Jackson's league. But right now, we are in a players' league, not a coaching league. LeBron pretty much.
First of all, when you think about the Knicks, I'm sorry to interrupt. When you think about the Knicks, you got to think about Derek Fisher too. He's actually a good coach.
Yeah.
So they actually have a good coach. They have probably the best GM in the league. So it's just a matter of time before they're able to move up, get into the playoffs, maybe fourth, third. I don't see them taking over.
No,
they don't have enough talent to work with.
No, trust me, they're gonna take over the East.
They don't have anybody. They don't only
have
Phil
Jackson. You name me one year that Phil Jackson hasn't taken over the league. He ruled.
Okay. Well, he needs to do it before Carmelo turns 35, because after that, he'll really be on the down end of his career. So let's just wait and see if that happens.
It's gonna happen. I believe it. I've been watching it all my life. It's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen.
I was online last night. I was listening to Charles Barkley talking about LaMarcus Aldridge going to the San Antonio Spurs. And the other sports analyst there was asking him if he thought that does that make the Spurs a sure thing to win the championship? I know Las Vegas put the odds at 4-1, just below the Cleveland Cavaliers, and I'll get to them later on. But Barkley was saying that he is definitely not ready to give them the Larry O'Brien Trophy, and I completely agree with him because I checked on my sources say that they're out of money. First of all, they are out of money. They have signed Aldridge to $20 million a year. They gave Kawhi Leonard a big contract. Tony Parker $14 million.
Small contract.
No, Kawhi Leonard has an extension of $90 million, 5 year $90 million.
$90 million. Good Lord.
So 5 years, $90 million. They gave Aldridge 4 years, $80 million. Tony Parker's on the books for $14 million a year still. And then they have other individuals. Corey Joseph, they find it a hard time moving. He's on the books still for a few million. There's some other individuals they were able to trade Splitter to the Hawks. He went to the Hawks. That was a good pickup. That freed up enough cap space for them to sign Aldridge, but now they're almost completely out of money is what I'd say. So they still have to sign Duncan to his last year. They're trying to get Ginobili to come back. They're going to have to pay him something. He's not going to play for $10. So my whole thing is that this looked like a good deal when they started talking about it, but I think they put their foot in the mouth now because they're going to go over their salary cap and pay a luxury tax penalty. So even when this team does get people, and they have no bench now, they have actually liquidated their bench. So they have to actually spend money signing Tim Duncan, perhaps Manu Ginobili, and they have to get some people back on their bench. Right now, they don't even have a bench, I heard. Like I said, Corey Joseph they haven't re-signed. They don't intend to re-sign him. And basically, they need about 5 or 6 more players, and they're already at their salary cap limits almost. I just don't see what they would think about. I mean, your professionals, your GM, your head coach. I know Aldridge is one of the best power forwards in the league, but you look at your finances. You gave Kawhi Leonard all that money. You had Tony Parker on the books already. So, I mean, I know you traded Splitter to free up some salary cap space, but I don't know if they were thinking long term in terms of needing, a 12 to 14 player roster, and Tim Duncan's salary and luring Ginobili back. I'm just not sure what they plan to do. But when and if this team actually gets together, I don't see them bidding better than Golden State, the defending champions. First of all, they can't run with them.
I don't think they're going.
They can't run. We'll get to that. They can't run with them. You got Kawhi Leonard. He can run the floor. Aldridge can run the floor, but Tim Duncan cannot run the floor at 40 years old. If you watched him in that Clippers series, he was struggling to get up and down that floor.
Now, the Clippers are on their way, I think, especially after looking at what they did, almost making it to the final. They're well on their way. If they re-sign DeAndre Jordan, that's a sure bet that they have a strong chance of going to the finals over in the Western Conference.
They didn't re-sign him. He left. He went to Dallas, so they're in trouble.
So Dallas did pick him up.
Dallas picked him up. They're in trouble
now because if he's gone, I don't know what the Clippers going to do, but they're going to have to pick somebody up.
And apparently they were trying to get Hibbert, and Hibbert chose to go to the Lakers. So right now, I'm not sure if they even have a center.
No, they don't have a center.
So they have to try to find a center. Maybe they I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe they picked up one in the draft. I'm not sure. I didn't go in that detail about what the Clippers are doing. I wasn't really even interested in the first place. They still haven't signed the coach's son. I can't think of his name right now. They haven't re-signed him. And he was a big part of one of those series, So that should be a priority. They let a couple people. Now I heard they were shopping Jamal Crawford in order to get a center. That just makes no sense to me at all. Right. He's one of the best 6-man. On any other team, he could be starting. J.J. Redick makes sense for me. I know he's a defensive liability,
Right.
But he's a sharpshooter. He's a 3-point shooter. He doesn't miss free throws.
Right.
He can play because he went to Duke. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
He does know the fundamentals of defense. Chris Paul, we know, is one of the best point guards in the league. Blake Griffin, somebody said during the Rockets series that he's a few years from being the best player in the world. I can almost agree with that.
Yeah,
but again, no center.
Yeah, no center. And that's what they're going to
need.
They
have no center.
They're going to have that center.
They don't have a small forward. They let Barnes go, they let Barnes
Barnes
go.
was becoming a liability, though.
They let Barnes could still play a little defense. He could hit a three now and then. I mean, but
becoming a liability.
But to get that type of talent for the price they were paying for him was a bargain. Okay, he wasn't making that much money in the first place. But now they have no small forward, and they have no center, and they have no backups. I don't know what's going on, and I don't know what's going on in the NBA right now. But because all these teams are trying to spend money and re-sign people, they're not thinking about their bench. They're not thinking about the positions they're losing people for. Center, power. I mean, small forward. Clippers are in trouble. I'm sorry to say that. They got a good coach. They got a good coach, but the Rockets. Let's get to the Rockets. A lot of people are talking about the Rockets going to be back. The Rockets still need to make a good deal. They need to make a big deal. They still need Chandler Parsons is coming back. He's going to be healthy, small forward.
Right.
Of course, they got the big man in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have James Harden.
Right.
They just re-signed Patrick Beverley.
Right.
Now, to me, I don't think you can win championships with Patrick Beverley being your point guard because he's not that good of a shooter. I heard his 3-point average was 35%, but he's not a guy that's going to be able to take some of those big shots. His assist to turnover ratio is questionable. He doesn't have a whole lot of assists. He's really more of a defensive guard. To me, he's a good backup.
Mm-hmm.
So saying that, they need a big game point guard to go along with James Harden. I don't know how they're going to get that. They have money. I heard they still have money.
Yeah, they got
plenty of money. They got plenty of money.
But
apparently they're not sold on Josh Smith yet either. They haven't re-signed him. I think he's wanting some money, and they're not willing to give him that money because they actually need a small forward now. No, they need a power forward, and they don't think, and he's really not a person you want to start. That can start for me at this stage in his career. So Houston's questionable. I still think maybe they're one of the top 5 teams because the deepest they went into
the
playoffs. So they went deep into the playoffs. So I still think they are a top 5 team, but they're a couple pieces away from actually going to the finals. So taking nothing away from all the things that Dwight Howard gives you. I'm not taking anything away from the superstar James Harden. At one point, I did think during this year, I thought that he was the MVP and better than LeBron James. But it kind of Harden. But that kind of went flat.
Yeah, because I wouldn't say it that much better than LeBron James.
So as far as the Rockets are still a top 5 team. You still have Golden. I'm going with Golden State. And then second, I gotta say I'm gonna pick the Rockets over the Spurs. The Spurs have showed us in the past that they have no answer for Dwight Howard. And they definitely don't have an answer for James Harden. So Kawhi Leonard is a good defender, but he's not going to be holding James Harden in some of these series because they don't play the same position. Right. And then you got the X factor.
Right.
You have Chandler Parsons. So I still think the Rockets are better than the Spurs, and we're going to find that out when the season starts.
Yeah.
Let me just move quickly. I know time restraints. I'm going to move quickly on to the Eastern Conference. And I'm going to start off with everybody's picking Cleveland Cavaliers. They're spending a boatload of money. They've re-signed just about everybody. Right. They're having problems at this point, I heard, just a few hours ago, of completing the trade, of completing the deal with Tristan Thompson. Mm-hmm. The first deal I saw was $5 and $80. Right. Apparently, he's thinking, I don't know who's thinking that's not enough. I'm not sure. But other teams have got their eye on him. So Cleveland has got to get that deal done. James has yet to talk to them about his salary. They're going to be over the salary cap and paying a hefty luxury tax. Apparently, the owner doesn't care about that.
Right.
But I do want to say that they bring everybody back. They got Kevin Love, they got Irving. Now they're trying to trade. Now they're trying to trade for Joe Johnson. I don't know if J.R. Smith is still not in the mix, but they did sign Schaumburg.
I would trade J.R. Smith because he's
a free agent. They can't trade him. He can go wherever he wants to.
Okay,
apparently, he doesn't even want to come back. I don't blame him.
I mean,
but my whole thing,
waste of time.
He knows more about the Cavs than we do. Apparently, there's a reason why he doesn't want to come back. I don't blame him.
He ain't no shooter for real. He ain't showed up in the finals.
Well,
showed up in
Irving didn't show up either because he got himself hurt. Yeah. So what's that? So he did more than Irving. Irving didn't played one game.
Right.
So,
but
my whole thing is that Irving is not durable. He only played 12 games in college.
Who is? Who's durable?
On what? We're talking about the Cavaliers right now.
We are talking about the Cavaliers, but who is durable? Ain't nobody 100% at the end of the season.
We're talking about the Cavaliers.
We're talking about the Cavaliers.
We're talking about a guy. We're talking about a guy who played 12 games in his college career, missed half a season in his second year. If I'm wrong, somebody stop me. He missed half a season in the second year.
But
didn't he miss half a season in the second year?
Yeah, he did.
He missed half a season in the second year. No. We're talking about Cleveland right now. We're talking about Cleveland. We're talking about Kyrie Irving. These guys are broken down.
Yeah, everybody's broken down.
People are not missing 6 months. People are not missing a whole year. Kevin Love missed. He missed close to a whole year.
You got 80 games, man.
Listen. Like I said, we are talking about the people that the Cavaliers have. Varejao was just hurt. He's supposed to be coming back. Now they're trying to trade him. This team has to be not just stay healthy, but be healthy and on the same page at the right time. So there's a lot of factors that go into trying to make this team what people are trying to say the championship team. The Hawks just got better.
Well, the Hawks was sitting.
The Hawks just got better.
Yeah, they were sitting at home though for the finals. I mean, they played it. Yeah, let me get another vanilla milkshake.
The Hawks got better, but they did lose to Marcus Carroll.
Yeah.
So that's a big loss.
Right.
And thinking in terms of the Pacers, look like they're going to lose Hibbert. Apparently, they got some kind of backup, some other B plan. They did sign Monta Ellis. David West is gone, which I don't think that's a big deal because he was basically playing on one leg. Mm-hmm. Of course, he had the knee surgery a couple of years ago, and it affected his points per game is down, his rebounds are down, minutes per game.
Right.
So his durability is, I didn't think they wanted him back in the first place. So they do have George Hill still, who's going to be healthy. And Montiel, that's a pretty decent backcourt.
Yeah,
it's a pretty decent backcourt.
But
then you have Paul George. We're gonna have to see how he plays after breaking that leg.
Right.
But
he did come back for a couple. He
came back for a few games, but he really wasn't a defensive stopper at that point. He shot a lot of long shots. He didn't really drive a lot. So he was kind of scary. Watching him play, I think he was kind of fearful himself, thinking about the injury, but they do have some pieces in place. I'm not sure where they're going to be off of the playoff race. So I think maybe still toward the bottom, maybe 6 through 8. Boston didn't do much this offseason.
No,
I still think in terms of maybe grabbing an 8th seed. The Nets are in a soap opera unfolding right in front of us. Apparently, they chose to re-sign Lopez and Thaddeus Young, but now they're trying to trade Joe Johnson, Darren Williams. I'm not sure what's going on with Darren Williams' deal, but they still need a bench. C.J. Watson got away from them.
They need a coach.
I think he got away from him. They let him get away. I like the coach. I like the coach. He just needs players.
I don't like the coach.
He needs players.
They need to fire everybody. And
he needs players.
In my opinion, they need to fire everybody because their team could do a whole lot better if they just restructure the way they draft and get players to come to the Nets. Because I realistically don't see them going to the playoffs for the next 10 years. Literally, that organization has to revamp and rethink rethink some things to get that team back to where it used to be back in the day. But real side note, we're going to switch over to baseball just for a brief moment because we've been talking about basketball all this time. We have a lot coming up during the weeks. We're going to be talking about a little bit more football, baseball, and basketball as things heat up and as the baseball season moves forward. Do the Cardinals have enough to go to the World Series to win it at this point?
Oh, you asking me?
Yeah.
Can you give me 2 sugars while I answer this question?
Yeah. Sugar.
Yeah, just whatever. Yeah. I'm going to be as straightforward as I possibly can. And this is one of the best baseball teams I've seen over a period of 5 or 10 years that I've seen. They're going to be one of the teams that are going to go down in the history books. Now, with that said, we understand that Mike Matheny was handed a talent full of people, but now Walker's back. Jaime Garcia was back.
Right.
His ERA was low. His record's only 3-3. He just got put on a 15-day disabled list because of his groin.
Right.
But we're knowing that the Cardinals are not scoring a whole lot of runs. They're averaging just under 3 runs a game for the season. That means that a couple other things are happening for them. Their pitching is excellent. Their defense is excellent. They barely average an error a game, or like an error every few games. I mean, they are solid defensively. But this team's loaded. They got a superstar catcher, Molina.
Yeah.
Probably the best catcher
in the game.
Definitely in the National League, if not in the game. I mean, he's starting to heat up. He's starting to hit balls. His power is coming back a little bit. So if he gets on it, I think that they're already a dangerous team. They're going to be unbeatable if he plays anything like he did a year or two ago, which I think he will. And then you got to look at it in terms of Matt Adams. Oh my gosh, I mean, this team is loaded. Mark Reynolds coming off the bench. Everybody thought that was a dumb pickup, but not at this point. This guy doesn't even have to play every day to get you a couple hits and a couple of home runs. And then Colton Wong, I can't say enough about him. Power,
yes,
speed, average defense.
Yes,
another farm system guy. I just don't get it. Shortstop, Peralta. When they first got him, I thought, well, this is a guy that was on a PED list. He looked like he was a little bit overweight. His power was suspect. I'm telling you right now, I was flat out wrong about this guy. He can play baseball. He can play shortstop. He can hit for power. He can hit period. This guy is the real deal. And apparently he's going to the All-Star game. Third base, what can I say? One of the best third basemen in one of the best third basemen in the National League. His name came up in the MVP conversation last year. He's starting to do the same stuff. I mean, this team's loaded. And they added Jason Hayward, who's playing phenomenal. He's going to the All-Star game. Matt Holliday, who's been injured, is coming back. Center field is in limbo a little bit. John Jay just got hurt. He wasn't hitting well. He wasn't. He doesn't really steal a whole lot of bases. He wasn't running well. But now he's hurt. But now Boris, I hear, is tearing the ball up, and they've got another guy. They've got actually another guy, and they just brought up a guy that won the last 2 games for him, number 20. Don't know his name. I apologize for that.
Right.
Spain or something like that. But he 6 feet, 200-something pounds, nothing but muscle, speed, defense, power. If this guy turns out to be anything, the Cardinals are unbeatable.
Yeah, we're gonna be dangerous.
Their pitching is unbelievable. Walker, Martinez. I'm not a fan of John Lackey, but John Lackey has actually become the guy that they're giving him the first game of some of these series is because he's a workhorse. Oh, yeah. He's a first strike guy. He gets ahead of the batters. He gets guys hitting the double plays. You don't know what he's got about four pitches. You don't know what he's doing.
Right.
He's healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He's got velocity on his ball. If the Cardinals would just hit when he pitches,
right.
the guy could easily be 10-3 right now instead of being 6-5.
Right. So
I think they're the best team in baseball right now. At the end of the day, when it comes down to the playoff World Series, that could be in question. Cubs, they're making a run for the playoffs.
Yeah,
Pirates are hot.
They're not gonna be there.
The Pirates are hot.
Yeah, the Pirates are gonna be in, and the Cubs gonna probably take a back seat to them.
I think it's going to be a battle between the Cubs and the Pirates. Which
I
is
think it's gonna be the Pirates.
But let's go out west a little bit. And talk about that conference.
Okay.
Los Angeles Dodgers are doing it again.
Yeah.
Some people don't know. We don't even know how they're doing it, but they're doing it. I just think it comes down to coaching, and defense and pitching. And Kershaw.
The Cardinals are their kryptonite. Just put it like that.
We don't know what's going to happen
if
they play each other. First of all, they have to play each other.
Yeah.
The Giants. The Giants look like right now that they may not even make the playoffs.
Who?
The San Francisco Giants.
Oh yeah,
they may get hot at the right time. They may get back in the playoffs, but they're definitely not going to the World Series. No, I know for a fact they're not. They don't have. They lost some people. They lost some people. They lost the Big Panda Bear. They lost him. Who was the MVP of the World Series
to a wild card team last year.
Well,
they were the wild card team.
But you have to look at
the wild card. We in trouble.
You have to look at a few factors in facing a team like that late in the season. A lot of it's a long season, 162 games.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the Cardinals were exhausted. Some of them playing through injuries. Matt Holliday stopped hitting. We know that. So there's a lot of things you have to. The power wasn't there in some of the players.
Right.
Wainwright got to the end of a couple games. Games that gave up a run or two. So I just think that the body just kind of wear down. They just have to be healthy and strong at the right time and not worry about who they're going to face in the wild card. I don't think the Giants are going to be there in the first place unless they do some significant trades and get a power hitter, which I'm not sure if that's going to happen. So let's not worry about the Giants right now, but they do need to probably consider the Nationals. The Nationals are running away with that league over there right now, but the Mets, let's not count. For the first time in years, we can't say the Mets are out of it. They have played through bad seasons, bad injuries, bad contracts, bad coaches, and somehow they have still managed to be right around 500 going into the All-Star break, which means they can make a run and get in the playoffs.
Right.
And I'm not sure if that's a team that I would want to face because they are hungry and they play all out.
Yeah.
So it's just to see that's the National League wrapped up in a nutshell. I do want to talk a little bit about a few of the American League teams. I think the Yankees are definitely phony. They're definitely phony. Their big game pitcher Sabathia is just not who he's a shell of what he used to be.
Right.
They haven't even got their Japanese superstar. I'm not sure if he's back yet. But he will be back. They haven't had a real closer since Mario Rivera left. They do have power. They're always going to have power.
Right.
And who would think that A-Rod had anything left in him? Apparently he does.
I think he's still on the roids, though, to tell you the truth.
Definitely not.
He's on roids.
He's not.
He's on roids.
I do think that anytime a player 3,000 hits his 3,000 hit with a home run,
roids.
And he's going to have to be the exception, I think, when it comes to Hall of Fame because he's probably going to end up hitting about 700 home runs.
Roids of roids.
But he's one of the only players that was on that list who's playing the rest of his career without being on steroids. So you have to give him some credit. All the rest of them played on steroids till the very end. But anyway, enough about the Yankees. Baltimore, not really the same team they were last year, but they still seem to be a little bit in the mix. Boston's making a run right now. I don't think they make the playoffs.
No.
But I don't think the Yankees will probably come out in that division. I don't think they win the pennant, but they do make the playoffs out of that division. First round exit.
Either first or second round.
You have to look over out west at the Angels. But right now, the Houston Astros, unbelievably, is leading that division with a bunch of no-name people. I think Boccia is he still coaching them? Apparently.
I think so.
I'm not sure about that, but apparently they've got some good coaching, decent pitching, some of their own farm system guys they've got going on. They've got a little power. One of the guys I think is going to be, was leading their American League in home runs. No name guy. I can't even tell you what his name is, but the Astros have put something together.
Right.
Unfortunately, I don't think they'll get by Kansas City in the playoffs. I don't even think they'll get by the Angels. The Angels always make these late season runs, and I think they have they have about 2 or 3 superstars on their team that will beat you themselves. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mike Trout is probably the best player in baseball. Anytime you got the best player in baseball and you got Albert Pujols,
you're in trouble.
This could be their. If KC slacks off a little bit, this could be the year that Pujols breaks through, going to the World Series.
Since he left the Cardinals.
So I still think they need to make a couple pitching deals, maybe get a big game pitcher.
They really do.
If they get a big game pitcher, they're coming out the West.
Yeah, they're going to come out hard.
I don't think Houston can hold up this pace the whole year. Kansas City looks like they're a team that can go back.
Yeah.
That can go back.
They look strong.
They look strong.
Really strong.
They look strong. They look unbeatable.
Right.
They're fast. They can pitch.
Yeah.
They can play defense.
Yeah.
They're almost a little bit of a prototype of the Cardinals. They got a great catcher. It's just I don't see how they do it. Some of their people left this past during this year. They got some other people. They're not even the same team. But it's coaching, it's management, it's the GM, it's the farm system. It's the guys that made all the good moves for them last year in the playoffs that are still there. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here in baseball. We've got the All-Star game coming up. That's been a little bit more competitive over the years. So
yeah. Can I get my check for those 2 Sunday?
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens. After the All-Star break. But it looks like Nationals, Cardinals. I'll even say Cubs get in. I think there's got to be 4 teams now. So
but I ain't seeing the Cubs.
Realistically,
I don't see the Cubs.
Dodgers, Nationals, Cardinals, Cubs.
I say Pirates before the Cubs.
Pirates always find a way to fall off the end of the season. Let's hope that doesn't happen. But I still say Cubs. That's my 4 teams. That's my 4 teams in the National League.
My 4.
In the American League, I've got to say Houston, Los Angeles.
I'll say Angels. Houston maybe.
Yankees slip in.
Yankees maybe.
I'm not sure. I wanted to say Seattle. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. They look like on paper they're one of the best teams in baseball. They had to put something together and make a run. But they're in the same division as Houston and Los Angeles. It's going to be impossible for 3 teams to come to the playoffs out of that one division. So they may not make the playoffs at all. I'm just sorry to say that. Unless they make a big run and Houston falls off the map.
Wild card.
You know what I mean? That could happen. But I do see the Angels breaking through. I do see the Yankees slipping in, but I do think they're fake. Kansas City. And if Houston can hold up, that's my 4 teams. Like I say, Houston and the Yankees will get bounced first. It'll go down between the Royals and the Angels unless somebody else breaks through. Boston's making a late run. They got enough talent to do something. That just depends on Houston falling completely out of the race and the Yankees just doing the same thing. So the American League is much more interesting right now, and you can never forget about Detroit.
Yeah.
I don't care what happens.
Cabrera.
He's hurt right now, but we can never forget about the Tigers. They always have to be considered because they got Verlander, they've got Cabrera, so we always have to look at them. But like I said, a lot of factors go into that, and that's all I got for baseball.
With that said, we had a lot to cover today. We're gonna pick up next week sometime. We're back. We're gonna be doing this on the regular now. I know we had
we're back in the mix.
Mini break.
Yeah, a lot of things happen in our lives.
A lot of things been happening in our lives, families,
death in
the family, everything.
Yeah,
but
tragedies.
Just keep us in your prayers. We will be back next Sunday, or next Sunday or Thursday, one of the two, where we're gonna be going different locations. We're gonna be going to Club Fitness.
Yeah, Club Fitness for a spot there.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely get into some good discussion. So stay tuned to that. I'm Robert Stewart and this is David White, and welcome back to Sports Talk.
Thank you.